So
Mm.
once that is done, you have asked all the questions. Try to come up with a brute force solution, like very brute. Like it should be like if it is an array, how you are going to sort it, you are going to sort it like bubble sort. Okay,
Mhm.
so that brute force. Like I have seen a lot of candidates, those jump into a very complicated solution.
Hello everyone. Today we have with us Vaishno. He was from my college, same batch, and we prepared together for cracking our dream companies. And today he is here with us to share with us his intro experience with Flipkart. Hi Vaishno.
Hi, Shank. So thank you for having me here again. So around a year back, I took Flipkart's interview. Back then, I was working with NCR, and I had one of my mentors who was working with Flipkart at that point of time. He referred me, and thereafter I got an opportunity with Flipkart to interview with them. So the interviewing process with Flipkart is pretty smooth. There would be like one machine learning round. I would explain what it is. One normal DSA round, and one would be on hiring manager round. That is the round where the guy you would be working under would take your interview. And so what happened is my contacted me on Friday, and my interview process started on from Monday itself, and it took 3 days. One interview each day, and got finished by Wednesday. I got the results by next Monday, something like that. So going on, the first interview that is taken is of machine coding round for anyone who has experience. Like even if you have 4 months of experience, 2 months of experience, they would the first round generally would be a machine coding round. So what happens is here what generally just to give a brief, I also interviewed a lot of candidates for the same in the same interviewing positions like for machine coding as well as for data structures. So what happens here is we want to see if you still have the touch of coding or not. Like if you are just not a person who is able to code DSA problems but are not able to rightly code real life situations. So what we give it, we give a very elaborate question to you. Okay, we'll have a first para, we'll give you the situation, and then we'll have 5 to 6 points. Right, for example, you have to build a hospital management system. So, in the first para, generally what we do is we give you the what is hospital management system and what we are looking at, and then there would be 5 to 6 points. Now, in these 5 to 6 points, you can tell them as functional parameters like we should be able to add hospitals, we should be able to add patients. You'll have 5 to 6 of these, and then there would be a bonus section to it. So this machine coding round is like different for different year of experience, different type of expectation we have. So if somebody who is like 1.5 2 years of experience, you would expect him to do the bonus section as well. It is good if he does. If like it's just a matter of a little rating drop or rating up, right? And if somebody who has only 4 months of experience, we don't even expect him to go to the bonus questions till then, right? So now comes what is the first biggest criteria for like going through the interview, like going throughout the interview. Even when I was giving my interview, my mentor had suggested me a lot of things, and one of the most important things that there is to it is you have to have completed the like 5 to 6 points of whatever points you have. It should be a working code. It should not be like you have implemented everything but nothing is working. Even if you just implement 3 points, okay, not even bonus section, five, like you have 5 points, you just implemented three, but those three should be working. So whenever you try and get into these situations, try to build one thing first, test it, then go ahead and build the second thing first, test it, build the third thing and test it. Don't try to don't try to go like breadth first thing that you are touching everything first. Go in depth first manner, right? That would really help you. Otherwise, you would be left with nothing in your hand, right? That is the first most important criteria that we have. Otherwise, like people don't even evaluate it if you have not completed it. Then comes like how you have structured your code. Okay, Like the more experience you have, the better structured it should be. How you have created your classes. How if there are like classes there, where there could be inheritance or other OOPS concepts applied. Did you apply those? Okay, so these are like for very high level, like not generally for 3 or 4 months. We don't expect a lot of those, but a simple structuring. Then the code should be readable. Like it is even before like getting it structured, the code should be readable. Like you should be using all the like all the correct things. Like if you are using Java, then your variable naming should be correct. Your it should use camel casing. These things. Then also like in normal DSA questions as well, refrain from like having these int x, int y, int z. Okay, if you are not having a coordinates problem, then int x, int y doesn't really make sense. So that would be another point. Then, when you are coming to this point, like there are a lot of aspects of machine coding around, right? When you're coming to this, what you need to do is you need to also handle exceptions. Like, for example, there is a bank, okay, and your account, your balance is only 10 rupees, but you are trying to withdraw 15 rupees. Then what happens, right? And if you have like put the balance as integer, then what happens, right? So you have to think about everything in the process and then go ahead with like all the thinking. Like exception handling should be done, and it should be done gracefully. Like it should you should throw an exception. You should not just like your program should not just like crash because you had used you were dividing it by zero or some other stuff, right? If it is the balance goes in negative, it should throw an error that there is no sufficient balance, right? So that should be there. Then generally, it is good to have the knowledge of enums and these like generally in a lot of places where I have seen like people where a lot of enums could have been used, they are still not using it because uh, while we are doing DSA, we never use it. Like hardly anyone have ever used enums. Even if they are doing it in DSA, I don't think so. It is necessary. So people try like tend to skip enums, right? But while coming to like real life coding, there's like lot of emphasis of enums that you have. Like if you have error codes or other type of constant or anything, so you have to have a lot of enums, not a lot, like simply a couple of enums. And wherever you think that it would be beneficial, use enums. Okay, that is a very good flow. Then, so going ahead, you have built it, you have structured it, your code is readable, you are handling exceptions gracefully, and you should be able. Also, there would be one point or 2 points in that question that would also require you to apply some logic, right? Like apply some data structure to it. Example, you have to have a data structure to fetch the patient's name according to his last name or something like that. So how are you going to do that is also important. Not that important, but it is also important. Or you have to print all the patient's name, but it should be sorted according to their last name. So how are you going to do that? Like if everybody is added once, so are you going to use insertion sort? Or whenever this method is called, are you going to print? Are you going to sort it every time and then print it? Right? So there could be a lot of different pros to insertion sort, or a lot of different pros to if it is not being asked a lot, then you might just go ahead with what do you say, sorting it at the time of asking if it is a blue moon situation. So clear all these things with the interviewer. The interviewer will be there with you for the 2 hours. You can ask him all the doubts, all the clarifications through at try to get all of those at the starting, but you can ask them as the interviews goes on and on. And lastly, the interviewer would ask you to go ahead and explain you the solution, okay, step by step. So do that as well very nicely. Everything should be very presentable, and you while explaining, don't fumble a lot. Like you should know your flow of your code, right? It should not be like you have copy pasted. A lot of people don't copy paste, but even then they are not able to explain it because they were doing it in a focused mind, and now once they have done it, they don't remember everything. So try to
Mm-hmm.
make a structure out of that, like have a pen pencil and try to make a structure, and according to that structure, explain it to the interviewer how the code goes around. He'll test it for a lot of exception handling and a lot of other things. And if hopefully you would make it, so you would generally go for the second round. That would be the data structures round. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, the data structures round, I had three questions. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I would not like to discuss the questions as such, and I also don't remember it. But
Yeah.
the questions, uh, like personally, a lot of people goes through Geeks for Geeks and stuff to check out the questions that Flipkart is asking. That is a good thing. Like everybody does that. But what happens is now the question DSA question is actually uh, picked by the interviewer. It is never
Mm-hmm.
given by Flipkart or anybody else. So it is generally just the interviewer. Like when I used to do it, I had a 15, 20 questions as such. And according to the guy, like if he's really good, if I am interviewing somebody who has like 3 to 4 years of extensive competitive coding experience, I would start with a medium question and then I'll go on to a medium to hard question. Okay. But if somebody who is new to this, then I'll go with a like easy question. Okay. And I think like if he'll be able to manage a medium question in the required time or not. Right? Even if you start with a tough question or you think that the other guy got an easy question and I got a pretty tough question, that doesn't matter. That it doesn't really matter if that won't make any sense, right? Because the interviewer has already given you tough, so he'll score you in that manner. If you're able to answer medium and hard, you would like go into the best ratings. Okay. That other guy who he got and he was able to answer the easy and medium question, he would also have a very good rating, but he might not have the best of it, right? So, so have that idea. Try
Yeah,
to
it's
answer.
kind of relative, we can say, for the same question, how well this individual has done compared to rest of them.
Exactly. So how it is always relative. Like you generally people will be in a drive, right? And it will always be relative to the interviewer. Like I have interviewed five guys previously, and he was better than everyone till now. So I'll have to give him a rating that is higher than the previous five guys, right? So think about that. Don't worry about like if you have got a hard question and you are not able to solve it. Then first and like for any DSA question, for first at most, try to ask as many clarifying questions as you think are relevant. Don't ask stupid questions. Okay, people say there are no stupid questions, but they are still okay. Try to get some clarification all the required questions. Also, he might write it or he might speak it. So while writing it, read it 2 to 3 times. Most of your doubts might get cleared there itself. And while he's speaking, listen to him very carefully. Don't doze off or don't like that is the important time. Most of the answers now might be in the interviews words only. So once that is done, you have asked all the questions. Try to come up with a brute force solution, like very brute. Like it should be like if it is an array, how you are going to sort it. You are going to sort it like bubbles up. Okay, so that brute force. Like I have seen a lot of candidates, those jump into a very complicated solution. Okay. Then first thing, like as an interviewer, if he is going to a new approach, I understand. Okay, that interviewer that the new approach is good, the new approach is better. But what happens is at first we might also not even to grasp it if you are not like there are few very, very good people who are able to explain their things with all the notepads and everything using everything and they are able to explain it, but I have seen a lot of people they go in so much complications, right, that like it doesn't make sense like to follow them what they are saying. It becomes very difficult for us. Like what you need to do is you need to come up with a brute force solution and then keep on like make like check for the bottleneck.
Incrementally.
Yeah, incrementally check for the bottleneck and remove that bottleneck. Right. So if you are if you your search is taking O of n time, right? Then you can
Mhm.
use a hash map. Tell him that I'll be using a hash map for this solution so that I get a O of one time complexity, right?
Mhm.
So go in that manner. Don't go it like totally to a complex situation.
Mhm.
Then once your brute force is done, try to explain him brute force quickly, and then
Mhm.
go to an optimal solution as soon as you can. And
Mhm.
for the first question, try to finish it off in 10-15 minutes. The second
Mhm.
question in like 20 minutes, and then the third question in like again 20 minutes, somewhat like
Mhm.
that. So if you are able to do 2 to 3 questions, right? Generally in Flipkart, if 2 questions are done, we ask you the third question. And if you are able
Mhm.
to answer all the 3 questions, that is a big thumbs up, right? Even if you
Mhm.
are able to answer 2 questions and the third question might be more of an important question, then if you haven't solved it like totally, then your chances are slim. But still, if you are able to solve it brute force, then you might have a okay chance, right?
Mhm.
So going ahead, yeah, these like for DSA, these are the pretty much everything. And
Mhm.
then comes the hiring manager round. So this is
Mhm.
more of an like round most people would be comfortable with. If you have
Mhm.
done good work in the past, okay, that the work that you are proud of, as
Mhm.
well as if your projects, as well as your like co-curricular life, okay, so is
Mhm.
good, then it would be nice. Okay.
Mhm.
In Flipkart, generally the culture is of more like if everybody is very studious, like generally those kind of people are not much in like Flipkart. Like
Mhm.
we have more of like happening people, like who would like to go somewhere or who are more happening. So you
Mhm.
might also have want to show that side of you, like not a
Mhm.
total nerd type of a person. Okay, exactly.
Right.
So that you are able to easily get along with how Flipkart is. It is still very much follows a startup environment.
Mhm.
Like it is not a startup anymore, but its working internal is very dynamic. Like good things of a startup and good things of an MNC, I would say. Like
Mhm.
a great time that I had there. So the hiring manager will start with tell me about yourself, and this
Mhm.
like tell me about yourself like 5-10 minutes. Okay,
Mhm.
like you can take around 5 minutes and like only tell about like the impact. Okay,
Mhm.
impact. So generally when debriefings happen and we want to see spikes. Okay,
Mhm.
like it should not be like the person is a jack of all trades and he knows everything small. Okay,
Mhm.
but you should be like good at few things that are you are exceptional at,
Mhm.
right? Like you are exceptional at even chess. Okay, you are exceptional at chess.
Mhm.
Okay, or you are exceptional at DS or anything,
Mhm.
right? So you
Mhm.
should have some spikes in your resume. There should be
Right.
some points that are out of the blue. It should not be like
Yes.
you're good at a lot of things, but
Yes.
you are not making sense. So like
Yeah.
agar if I was there, okay,
Mhm.
I don't know what I had spikes in, but yeah, like you
Mhm.
should have like good projects or you should be enthusiastic. Your
Mhm.
communication should be good, right?
Yeah. In fact,
So
in every round, I think in hiring manager also they'll ask what is the best project you think you can explain to us about, or
yeah,
the best, yeah, anything.
that's
And in
perfect.
DSA also, which data structure is your favorite, or which algorithm is your you like the most, something like that. And accordingly, they'll deep dive in that.
Yeah, exactly. So there should be a spike. There should be a big thing in your every portion, right? If,
Mm.
as you said, right, favorite data structure. So your one of the data structure should be very thorough. In all three, we see how well are you able to communicate. So communication in all the rounds are very important. From round
Mm.
zero to round hiring manager, every it is important at every round.
Mm.
Okay, and then going forward, you'll explain. Then he'll ask you to explain a project or your past work, whatever it is, if you are have done past work.
Mm.
And once you have done the past work and everything you have explained, he'll tell about Flipkart, his team. Ask, then you have some like 5, 10, 20 minutes to ask him questions.
Mm.
Ask good questions. Okay, ask a
Mm.
lot of good questions regarding Flipkart, regarding the team, regarding the work, regarding
Mm.
the profile, regarding the responsibilities that you would have while you would come in. Okay,
Mm.
like if there is any other thing that you should know. how the culture is, everything and anything that you can think of is relevant. Okay, even if
mm,
it is not relevant, like at the last 5 to 10 minutes, it is more of a chill situation. So you can also ask about the dynamics of the team, like what is the age group, like generally how people are fun, what do you guys do when you are in free time. So
mm,
try to show that you are very much interested in the team. Okay, have a
mm,
lot of enthusiasm about Flipkart, and it is a company to have enthusiasm about, right?
mm,
So that is also done. Okay, and then finally, if hopefully you get selected, okay,
mm,
the recruiter would come back to you, and then all the formalities, paperwork would start, and generally the onboarding would happen. One very important thing that I see a lot of candidates not uh, seeing is a lot of candidates generally start off okay with the recruiter. Okay, with the recruiter as well, show some enthusiasm about the company and getting in. Okay, if the recruiter sees that you are like recruiter is your one point of contact, he is going
mm,
to like nobody. Okay, nobody from the interviewing team or the hiring manager is even going to know when the interviews are going to be scheduled or anything is going to happen. If you are
mm,
ghosted, is like there's nothing an interviewer could do. Everything is gone through by the recruiter itself. Okay,
mm,
so try to have a very good rapport with the recruiter. Okay,
mm,
like, show some enthusiasm, so have some good rapport, so that
mm,
throughout, okay, you don't face any issues. Okay, even in the interviews, like recruiters at Flipkart are amazing. Okay, and
mm,
they would take care of you very nicely, and so that if you have a good rapport, even if you don't get in, right, even if you don't get in, and 6 months after the blocking period you want to connect with the recruiter, they'll give you a chance. But if they only think that you were not serious 6 months back, and they don't feel that you have it in you, then they won't give you that chance, right? Have a good rapport. Okay, and they might refer to some of their friends. They have this whole recruiter group, right? They might
mm,
refer you to some other company, right? Have a very
mm,
good rapport. And finally, when you would be negotiating rate, or when you would be talking about packages, or what your expectations according to the package, then you would be more free to tell all of those expectations, like with the recruiter. I don't like how the process of package deciding it is very different in
mm,
Flipkart. So, but have a good rapport, you would be able to tell the recruiter, and the recruiter would send that message across to the other teams very nicely. So
mm,
these things are pretty important. Have a good rapport with the recruiter as well. So this pretty much wraps up the whole
yeah.
Flipkart interview, how that happens and everything.
Yeah. So I think we've covered pretty much tips and tricks that could be helpful for candidates if they have interviews in the next few days or in this week. So maybe we plan another video session where we can discuss more about how they can start preparing from maybe if they have more than a few weeks of time.
Yeah,
Like specifically machine coding is something. Is it as important as DSA? How much time we should give for that? So looking forward to have another session with you on that.
sure.
Okay.
It was
Thank you.
amazing, guys. Thank you.